Hello and welcome back. Today we're going to continue our series on learning about various design patterns. In this episode we will be taking a look at how you can simply and easily implement the observer pattern. The observer pattern is a simple yet very powerful pattern which allows you to set up a one-to-many relationship between objects. By implementing the observer pattern, this will allow you to be able to simply and easily notify all of your dependent objects of any type of data or state change in one fluid, simple process. In our example today, we're going to set up a simple inventory update scenario. In our scenario, we will create a warehouse which contains inventory, and we'll set up so that the warehouse is aware of all the stores that use that warehouse. And when inventory is removed from the warehouse, we will actually notify each of the individual stores that the inventory has been reduced. This will allow the stores to then theoretically, not sell that inventory to potential customers. So let's go ahead and get started. Now the first thing we're going to want to create is our warehouse. Now within our warehouse, we know that we're going to want to create a list of stores. So I'm going to go ahead and create a iList of store. And we'll actually create what a store is here in a few minutes. Let's not worry about that too much. I'm going to go ahead and, in my constructor, go ahead and set up my observing stores to be a new instance. That way I don't get a null ref exception. Now, of course, we want to have our warehouse observe stores. So what we're going to want to be able to do is say, warehouse, here is a store you need to observe. So what we want to do is do public void. I'm going to go attach. And we're going to attach a store. And because I don't want to attach the same store multiple times, I'm just going to do a simple if check. And say if it doesn't contain the store, go ahead and add it. And then, in a real scenario, you'd probably want to go ahead and do a detach. So we'll go ahead and do a detach real quick. And this will allow us to attach a store as well as detach a store. But we also want to be able to tell the warehouse that we are removing something from inventory. So let's go ahead and create our method to do that. So we're going to go ahead and create a method here, and it's going to take in a SKU and an amount to remove. And now this won't do a whole lot here, but what we do want to do is actually call our notify method. Because we have to tell our stores somehow to do something, to remove a value, add a value, change a value, whatever the case may be. So I'm going to create this method here called notify observing stores of inventory removal. And what this is going to do, it's going to iterate over our observing stores collection and call a method on them. So we're going to do for each and observing stores. Now, of course, I'm getting a bunch of red things here because we haven't created our store object, so we don't have a method called remove inventory from store. That's fine. We'll get there in a second. So let's go ahead and save this, and I'm going to go ahead and create our store object. Now, store pretty much does a whole lot of nothing. So let's go ahead and create our remove inventory as well. Now, in order to remove something, we have to have a list of SKUs, so we probably want to create a list of SKUs here. So I want to do this as a dictionary. We'll call this inventory. And we're going to go ahead and create our constructor of store. Each one of our stores has a name, so don't want to do that. We do want our store name to be provided when you create an instance of a store, so I'm going to go ahead and create that instance. Now, because this is a pattern here, and we're going to want to reuse this concept over and over again, I'm actually going to make store abstract. Now, so we have our store, we have our class, we have our method to remove inventory from the SKU. So let's go ahead and do a if inventory contains a SKU. Let's go ahead and do inventory. Actually, we don't want to just simply do a remove here, so what we need to do is do inventory SKU. We want to get the current inventory. Then we're going to do inventory Now, of course, in a real scenario, you'd probably want to do checking, make sure you're not, going negative on your inventory, but we will only need that for this demo. Now, what we're also going to want is, in a real scenario, you would have a way to probably tell a store how much of inventory it has. In our demo here, we don't really have that, so we'll go ahead and create a protected abstract, and I'll do void populate inventory. And since this is an abstract class, we'll have all of our subclasses populate this. So that is our store class, but we don't want to use store directly. We're going to want to actually create instances of it. So let's go ahead and create a derived type. I'm going to call this the West Hollywood store. And in order to save some time here, because it is only a 10-minute demo, I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste this in real quick. So I've gone ahead and I've created a store here that's West Hollywood store, and I've just filled in some dummy inventory here. And I've gone ahead and created a Chicago store, and I've done the same thing there. So I just now have two instances of my store. So if I have my warehouse and my stores set up correctly, I have it set up so that I can attach a store to my warehouse. I can even detach the store. I can call a method called remove product from inventory, which will then notify all observing stores that this particular SKU has been removed. Now keep in mind, not every store may even carry that SKU, so this may just call off and the store says, I don't have that, don't worry about it. So let's go ahead and test to see if this works. Now what we're going to do is bounce over to our test harness here, and I'm going to create a new instance of our warehouse. And the first thing I'm going to want to do is attach some stores. So let's call this a new Hollywood store. Need to bounce over and it's called West Hollywood store. We'll call this Rich Guys. And then we're going to do attach. We'll go ahead and attach our Chicago store. Now that we have our observers lined up, what we're going to want to do is tell the warehouse to remove particular inventory from SKU, product from inventory. So we'll do remove product from inventory. We'll give the SKU of ABC, and we're going to remove 2 of them. Now, in order to know if this actually works, what we're probably going to do is check the quantity of each of our stores for that particular product. So let's go ahead and iterate over that. We'll go observing stores, and this we'll do system diagnostics, and then we'll just do observing store, and we'll do inventory. Nothing major at this point. Actually, let's do this. Actually, we don't want to do that. We want to do probably going to want some kind of method that will actually create the inventory, or give us the inventory. Let's go ahead and we'll create this method on our store object real quick. And if inventory contains a SKU, return if not, what we're just going to do is return 0. Nothing major here. This is just a little helper method. Now, if our observer pattern's wired up correctly, I should be able to run this. And I can look down here and I can see that I have a quantity of 8 and a quantity of 10. And if I bounce over to my code here, my West Hollywood store started off with 10, so now it's down 2. My Chicago store started off with 12, and now it's down to 10, so I lost 2 there as well. So there you go. In a matter of 8 or 10 minutes, we've created a simple observer scenario where we have a warehouse who has stores that it observes, and it can notify those stores when things change. So I hope you learned something, and until next time.